I can honestly say it was Black Beauty.
That's exactly what Pippa said.
He was meant to be, because he kind of sucked me out of that dark place. There is nothing better than being on a team.
Wearing a flag.
Wearing a flag.
Representing your country.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Talk Horse.
Our gallop through the highs and lows of the equestrian world.
I'm Pippa Funnell. I've been eventing for nearly 40 years, and I'm also an author of children's books.
And I'm Tristan Phipps. Oh, there was something else you wanted to put in there.
And I'm a lover of anything to do with horses.
I thought you were just going to say I'm a lover, full stop. I'm Tristan Phipps. You may recognise me from Made in Chelsea. However, there is another side to me. I am a lover of all things natural world, nature. And every week I'm learning more and more about the equestrian world from the very best, and I'm absolutely loving it.
You should nearly be getting a degree.
I think so. This is like a crash course that every equestrian lover would really appreciate. And I'm getting it.
To be honest, I'm really, really enjoying meeting all these guests. And today, I know we've got a real character. She's someone I've known for a very long time, and she's from the world of dressage.
So, whether you're a seasoned rider, a horse lover, or very horse curious like me, this is absolutely the podcast for you.
Saddle up, join our equestrian community, and let's talk horse. Hello, Tristan.
Hello, Pippa.
How are you today?
I'm fabulous. I'm fantastic today. That's your word.
No, fascinating.
Fascinating.
That's my word.
I'm not fascinating today. I'm just fantastic.
So we are here again. It's great to be back. I just wanted to, I know this is going out towards the end of March, but I felt I wanted to just mention a very special person within the eventing family, eventing world, who very, very sadly, her name's Caroline Moore, lost her battle with cancer. She was a huge inspiration to many riders, and she was a great trainer and mentor to an awful lot of youngsters, and she also was a key part of Ros Cantor's career. I mean, eventing is a very close-knit community, and I know her loss within the eventing world, within the equestrian world, is massive. Loss. Yeah.
Well, we'll dedicate this episode to Caroline then.
So one thing that is incredibly special, I think particularly with the eventing world, but the equestrian community, we are a pretty
very tight-knit
and close-knit family. And coming back to the podcast, you know, I've been so lucky how many amazing people I've met, and the chance to hear their stories, to hear their passion for the horses. I know we keep on saying this word passion, but
well, it seems to be the undercurrent theme for everyone in this world.
Yeah, I think it's I'm really, really enjoying this.
Yeah, episode 14 now. We've come a long way.
We have.
The horse knowledge is getting better and better, I think.
And back to March, and we've got obviously the Grand National round the corner. The flat season's about to get going. The show jumping is moving sort of outdoors, and big competitions within this country coming up. We've got Royal Windsor fairly soon. Well, that's more at May time, but it's a really exciting time. With spring comes the excitement of a new year in the equestrian world, and badminton, also another big one around the corner. Yeah. So a lot of people's dreams. A lot of things
to look forward to. What's the one you're looking forward to the most this year?
Well, I mean, I
badminton.
Yeah, I mean, I love, but listen, I love sport at any level really. I love following youngsters coming through. I love, whether that be riders or the horses. I absolutely love working with the babies, the young horses, and it's a wonderful thing to be able to do. Is know how to produce these amazing animals from the beginning.
Wow, it's very exciting. I'll have to come visit you soon, I think, Billy. Apparently Pippa's got a horse for me. I
have got a horse.
Is this a horse that can handle my fantastic level of riding, or is this a horse that you think would be quite fun to put me on the back of? Put me on the back of? Yeah, I'd go on the back.
He's like I have 3 dogs and this horse.
Is one of the dogs great? So we
yes, okay. and
to my level.
I could see you on him.
Yeah.
I could.
Rupert Campbell Black-esque or maybe
Oh, here we
not.
go.
Here we go again. I've met William now. I'm allowed to make these jokes.
So our guest today is a great character, very bubbly personality. She now is in the world of dressage. She was absolutely at the top of her game in the showing world with working hunters. So before we meet her, we had a bit of fun with a quiz a few weeks ago.
Yes.
I
so
don't know
much
whether you
fun.
saw it, my little tapping.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Was that the quiz you were talking about?
No, this is a different quiz.
Okay.
So
We're not tapping today.
No, we're not tapping, and I'm not doing any horse noises.
Please do for my my pleasure.
I'm going to test you on 4 dressage terms
Fine. Okay.
and what they mean.
Copy.
One of them
It's a
might
dud.
be false.
Okay.
Shoulder in.
Spell it for me.
Shoulder.
As in like shouldering or shoulder in?
Shoulder in.
Shoulder in. Would you use it in a sentence for me?
Put your left shoulder in.
Your right shoulder. That one's fake.
No.
No,
it's
Pippa.
Shoulder in. No, it's not. It is a
Okay.
movement.
It's a movement in
Yeah.
dressage.
Yes. Yes.
So bad at this game. Okay,
But you
what is
don't
it?
do that. No,
Is
it's. I would almost say what it is if you imagine if you imagine you're doing a 10-meter circle
Yeah.
on a horse, then if you do a shoulder in, as you come out of the 10-meter circle, you're doing the first step of your next 10-meter circle, but you're carrying straight on down the line. So the shoulders are in slightly off the track. Are you with me?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give you. Let me just get my notebook out. Write that down. Cool.
Exactly.
So that's the real one.
Yeah.
One
so
of the real
shoulder
ones.
in is real.
Okay.
Yeah. Passage.
I know that to be true.
Okay, so you can demonstrate what it is.
It is a term in dressage
Yes.
that is relevant to the equestrian world.
Yes.
See?
Yes.
There you go. And for my glamorous assistant, Pippa is going to describe exactly what that means.
So if I said
I've heard it before.
I want you to do some passage and piaffe. You could do. What
That
about
sounds like a
piaffe?
dancing term. Okay, I'm thinking like
Yeah.
leg up,
So that's
some
piaffe.
sort of. That's piaffe.
So that is basically dancing,
Yeah.
trotting on the spot.
Fine.
And
Passage is when you're moving
is
and
a
doing it?
very collected trot, but very slowly going forward. So you're hardly moving forward, but very, very.
Quite like overemphasize. Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's half marks.
Yeah.
40%
Now, a quick change.
is what you did in the loo just now for the next episode. A quick change. Quick change is not one.
Okay, you are right. It's actually flying change.
Flying change. No,
Yeah.
that is one.
Yeah. And you can get tempi changes as well.
No, you can't. You're lying to me now.
Not 10p changes. Tempi.
Oh, tempi. Fine.
Yeah. Not 10p.
Just making it up now.
So what are tempi changes, do you think?
Tempi. Oh, yeah, but tempi, what does that mean? Tempura? Is it a Japanese cuisine? Well, I don't know, Pippa. Can I phone a friend? 'Cause I'm sure our guest is going to know exactly what this is. I think that's enough of me being embarrassed by my lack of dressage knowledge. Hopefully, by the end of this episode today, it will be a lot better. So I think it is time to bring on today's amazing guest. And this week, we are speaking to dressage rider Louise Bell.
I've known Louise a long time. She used to, many years ago, event and jump a bit. She married Robert Bell, who was a very successful show jumper. And she was very, very successful in the showing world with her working hunters.
Absolutely. Louise is 8 times working hunter national champion and an international 5-star Grand Prix dressage rider.
Let's talk horse with Louise Bell.
Welcome, Louise.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Oh,
Louise, great to have you. And I know that you actually have been following Talk Horse since the beginning, because Louise and I have known each other a long time now.
very long time.
And
Couldn't be any longer than 10 years.
It's
Because
very
you're only,
much
what,
longer
you're
than 10
25 years old?
Oh, well,
Yeah.
in another life.
I did warn you he will try and flatter you.
But
I'll
maybe I'm
take it.
successfully flattering.
But I don't come out very often, so I'll take any bit of flattery. That's very good, very
Welcome
welcome.
to London. Welcome to the big city.
So Louise, another horsey girl that exactly that. Takes this as a day off, and that's exactly why I did these podcasts.
Absolutely.
Get to take the day off.
Yeah, to get a day off
Pippa
is why we
exclusive.
do
Pippa
it.
Funnell started a talk course to have the day off.
I did, literally.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to escape to the countryside, and you know, we film these podcasts in London. So can I have a day off and come and visit you and your?
Definitely.
Thank you.
But let's start
At the very beginning.
at the very beginning.
How did you connect with horses from the beginning? What was it that drew you to these beautiful animals?
Well, I think if you spoke to my mother, she thought I was cantering her womb most of the time. So
Sounds very uncomfortable.
yeah, I'm actually, and the funny thing is, I'm a townie. I'm London born and bred.
Are you?
So I think I can honestly say it was Black Beauty.
That's exactly what Pippa said.
See?
Can you sing the theme tune like Pippa did?
Sing the theme tune, name the theme tune. Yes.
I'm not going to ask
Do we
you
do
to.
it?
I was going to say,
On our
maybe
first
we
ever
could do a
episode
duet.
I think
Yeah.
so. 1, 2. Louise actually got that very good. Very good. I think
You sound much braver
it's-
with the second person.
Yeah, Black Beauty was just like we were, I mean, I think it was on a Sunday night or something, but we watched it. I was obsessed with it. I just thought it was, well, I mean, it still is. And do you know what?
it's iconic.
If you watched it now and heard that theme tune, you get all emotion. A bit like watching Dressage to music. You get that kind of like the hairs will come up on the
Goosebumps,
yeah, it's
yeah.
weird, yeah.
So
But yeah,
you grew
that's-
up in London. You're born in London.
Yeah.
So how do you ride in London, and how did you
Well,
connect with horses?
My parents moved from London to Rickmansworth, which is
Okay.
felt like the countryside, even though it's like the suburbs. But it was my mum who, I mean, I was 7 years old. I didn't start till I was 7. So, and we found Chorleywood Livery Stables, which was up the road. And both of us, Mum thought it was a good idea to start riding with me, and my sister, I believe, started at then too. Yeah, and it all came from there. And we actually probably very mistakenly bought 2 horses from the riding school. They were shutting down, and they were selling the riding school horses. There's a reason why horses stay in a riding school.
Yeah.
They're kind of not suitable for the big outdoors, or they weren't then.
Probably my level, actually.
But we didn't know. We didn't know. So my mum spent her time getting dragged around the village. The pony that I had bolted every time it saw a car, and I was going through hedges and gateways, and one day the pony bolted, and this is the funniest thing because it ran away and turned up in this lady's place who started yelling at my mother, and it turned out to be a lady called Barbara Woodhouse. And she was made famous by teaching dogs, and she used to go, sit, and all these dogs. She was like the first dog trainer. Anyway, so
Yeah, I've got a huge dog in my garden now.
and she, oh my God, the abuse she hurled at my mother, saying, that pony's totally unsuitable for your child. Oh, we didn't know any different. I thought I was having a great time. So anyway, it all kind of stemmed from there. I mean, I could write a book about those days, but it started just being a kid having fun with a pony. I mean...
And then, how did
Well,
it go?
yeah.
I mean, it's so wonderful to hear these stories because here I am. You know, I've known you for years. Same with Di Lampard, but you never get to hear the beginning,
Yeah.
and it's wonderful to hear the various stories why people got into it.
Yeah.
So did you then compete? Did you get to a situation that you were then able to compete pony, or how did it
Not that particular
go from
pony.
So far you've fallen off the horse. It's ended up in
All on the
someone
horse,
lady's
yeah,
neighbour's
run away
garden.
with.
You realised you were brave.
Yeah. And then my mum was pretty good at finding, I mean, we didn't have the money to buy ponies, but we had them on lease or loan. And funny enough, my first real pony was a blue roan called Smoky Joe. Hence my top dressage horse is a roan as well. So it's all kind of cool. But I started competing him, and we used to do hunter trials and pony club activities and pony club camp, and it was just the best. And he wasn't the most attractive pony, but he was solid, and he was just wonderful, and it was a real story. But in my mind back then, and you'll probably agree with this, Pippa, eventing was actually the thing. Eventing was kind of the thing you saw, whether it was to do with Princess Anne or what, I don't know. But I was inspired by it all, and there was, at the time, my icon was Lucinda Green. Lucinda Pryor Palmer. And she wore these yellow colours, and all I could think about is I wanted to be Lucinda.
That was me too.
Yeah. I mean, you just
It
can't...
was.
you saw her ride and she was just, everything just looked so natural and effortless. And I later on am really friendly with her, and I used to pinch her and ask her if she was real, because I couldn't believe that she was like my friend. And I just used to idolise her as a kid. But she was my inspiration to start. And you start doing all the pony club teams and things like that with the show jumping. No one wanted to do dressage. No one wanted to do dressage. So it was all about show jumping and eventing. And it just sort of grew from there. And I wasn't able to support myself financially with the horse. So, you work and you pick up rides where you can. And I was lucky enough to produce some really nice horses for the lady I worked for. And funny enough, even though I was producing it as an event horse, that's how I started with the showing, because Daff Wyatt, bless her, she was into the show horses during the summer and they had hunters in the winter. And she asked me to take on this young horse and produce it because the girl had fallen off and hurt herself and she didn't have a rider. So she asked me to take on this 4-year-old, which was actually probably my first working hunter competition at the Royal Show, which you don't do. I mean, it's like the biggest show there was in the day. You go to the Royal Show as your first show and do these working hunter classes, which are basically rustic show jumping, judged on style and how you jump the course. So the showing is actually quite interesting because it isn't just about doing your 3 phases. It is about jumping one course that everybody does the same course, and it's how you jump that course and you get marked accordingly. And then the ride judge gets on and rides that horse, judges you accordingly. And then you take the saddle off, stand it up so they look at the conformation. And if that's good as well, and all the marks add up and the top one wins. So
I am following.
Yeah.
I am.
No, what I was going to say.
No. I got tested on dressage things earlier.
No, but he does know a bit about showing because we did have Nigel Hollings
We did,
on.
yeah.
So
Nigel, he used
good
to
old
judge
Nigel.
me, yeah.
So
Lovely
Tristan
chap.
Yeah.
is aware of the
Pippa
showing
didn't enjoy
world.
his football analogies. So if you have any
really?
football analogies to tie into this episode, that would be ideal. So is it a normal thing to try lots of different disciplines and figure out which ones
Not really. I mean,
you?
look, I was showing for 25 years, Luke.
So that was the beginning of your career where you really took it seriously, was in the showing world, right?
Yeah. I mean, I had done the juniors
eventing,
with the
yeah.
eventing, but it became very difficult financially at the time. And the horse that I was on, I got to the final trial and he decided he didn't want to go cross country anymore after the 3rd fence. So that was actually the end of my eventing career.
That was it.
But that was real fun back in that day. Yeah.
Back to show.
Louise,
Yes.
you won shed loads in the showing world. I mean,
That's correct.
Just tell us, Tristan, and our listeners the success that you've had.
Well, I can't remember them all, but I know
We get that. We get that.
Yeah. But I mean, the working hunters was my specialist sort of class, so it involved the jumping. And I had huge success at Hickstead with many, many different horses. And I think I won it like 16 times.
16 times?
Yeah. And the Horse of the Year show many times. I had a huge career in showing. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And it wasn't just on one horse, it was on a huge variety of horses. The opportunities come up and things change. And I did have a very, very bad time. One year, well, between 18 months, I lost 4 horses through the most random things. And it kind of finished me.
As in lost them, as in...
Well, they died, yeah. It was awful anyway. You know, certain things with horses you can't fix, or they're not suitable to fix and be a hack because their brains aren't suited to it. They need to work. So sometimes as an owner, you have to make an awful decision. What's right for the horse? I lost 4 horses in a short space of time, and I thought that was it. I thought, this is telling me I need to give up. My horses are looked after like kings. They looked after better than any 4-star hotel.
Yeah.
They want for nothing. And I couldn't understand how these incidents were happening because I'm so diligent about everything. But it was just freaky things.
It's a matter of life, isn't it?
Absolutely freaky things, yeah. And it just all happened a bit too quickly,
And you feel like your heart...
Yeah, because
you
people might lose one horse, but when I've lost my family.
And it
was...
It is the one, and you feel so responsible. I mean,
yeah.
And it does happen. I lost a fabulous mare, Billy Shannon, and I actually I was so attached to her, and I absolutely felt it was my duty to be with her to the end. And it was one of the toughest things I've ever had to do, but I felt I needed to be with her to the end, and I held her when she was...
Yeah.
And it's that, you just can't comprehend, because they're such big animals. You almost think they're indestructible.
Yeah.
Totally.
How do you emotionally separate that kind of, spending all your lives with such these amazing animals that you have such a connection to?
When people say, don't get emotional, horses are emotional. You cannot express how emotional they are, and how people like Pippa and myself, how we train them, and understanding and getting that horse to develop to being a champion in whatever it's doing. It's a life's work. And then when something's taken away from you, like that, you beat yourself up because you think, what happened? What did I miss? It's really, really hard. And anybody that goes through the loss of an animal that they've owned, it's the same with a cat and a dog, they're your friends. And they're what you get up in the morning for. Yeah. So it was a huge thing. So for me, going through this time, I was battered. And even now I think about it, it makes you want to,
how do you now, move forward? And obviously, you did decide to continue with your career, and how do you...
Well, this is the thing.
What was it that kept you moving forward?
Funny enough, actually, John Whitaker, the legend that he is, gave me a call one day and he said, I think I've got one that might suit you. He's not going to be top Grand Prix, but I think he might make a working hunter. At least you'll like the colour.
It's a good start.
I went up to Yorkshire with my husband Robert, and John showed me this pink horse.
Pink horse?
He was pink at the
like
time.
albino? Or?
No, as in kind of fleckly pink. He was a really weird colour. But I'd already fallen in love with it before I met it. But he was related.
What was his name? I can't remember his name.
He's called Dynamo, but he's called Into the Blue. But John had called him Dynamo at the time. But he was pink. He was kind of... The wither was down there, the bottom was up there, and his front legs were like this.
He went, perfect.
Oh my God, I love it. But I got on this horse. It was like riding a snake. He was hyper flexible, spooky
What's it like
as
to ride a
hell.
snake?
He was
I'm
just
not
like,
familiar
well,
with
no, I mean, it was really wiggly wobbly.
Fine,
anyway,
yeah.
so I thought, I don't know, I just love this horse. And I jumped a few fences and I thought it was amazing and was completely in love with it. So I bought Dynamo and I got him home, and even my home vet had said, what the hell have you bought? Everybody that I met said, have you lost it? What the hell have you bought? It's a funny colour. He's all a bit upside downy. I said, I know, but I love him and he's going to be amazing. I don't care what anybody say, he's going to be amazing. So he was meant to be, because he kind of sucked me out of that dark place.
So Into the Blue. Took you
Into
out of
the blue. Yeah.
Brilliant name, isn't it?
Yeah. Really nice name, yeah. So what? So you were showing Into the Blue?
Yeah, and he was a champion from day one. I mean, it took me a year to get him to look right.
How do you change the way a horse looks?
It's all about the way you work them.
Yeah.
So
same way I'd go to the gym and try and get bigger arms.
Yeah, exactly. You know how you make yourself, you can create your muscles. You do the same with a horse within reason.
Yeah.
They've got to have the natural gaits. It's got to have a good walk, good trot, good canter. You can, with training, you can make the trot and the canter amazing. Very difficult to change a walk on a horse.
Interesting.
So you really want something that kind of moves in a straight way. Only reason because normally if they do have that extra gait...
Dish, we call it.
Dishing.
Dishing.
Not dishy,
Another
dishing.
term.
There you go.
Write that one down.
You're dishy.
Yeah,
I'm
dishing. Yeah.
I'm dishy, I'm this
That's
dishy.
right.
Got you.
Yeah. But the only reason for the crookedness, it can create weaknesses in their joints and stuff like that. So when you go to buy a horse, you don't really want to buy something that's moving in a weird way.
So on top of wind sucking.
Yes, or weaving.
Exactly.
Weaving.
Yeah. Things you just don't really want to know.
No.
How was that? It's quite nice.
Very good. I'm glad you're helping teach
Yeah. But yeah, so he was basically a good mover. But, I didn't know when I was buying him, I didn't know I was going to do dressage. It was the last thing on my mind, but I liked him and I thought it's just, it's amazing.
And was Into the Blue the horse that then made you transition into dressage? Is that right?
Well, actually, he wasn't. So at the time, I had another great horse called Get Smart, and he was a big, flashy, super mover. I was asked by the Horse and Hound to actually do a challenge, literally 3 dressage lessons, do a competition, bing, bang, bosh, it's all done. And I had nothing better to do at the time, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. I was supposed to be doing it with that horse. He'd just been second at the Horse of the Year show, and he'd come back and he'd got a corn. So a bit like you can get one on your feet, they can get
like
them as well.
A sort of
Yeah.
horse blister.
Horse blister under his shoe. I had to use Dynamo, and I was actually dreading it because he wasn't the most rideable. And I was dreading it. I was absolutely dreading it. But actually, as it happens, he was actually very good.
So that was his baptism of fire.
That was his baptism
And
of
your
fire.
baptism of
and
fire.
mine. And it was really hard because you had the film crew there and, you know, you were kind of being looked at. I thought, I just don't want to look stupid. And
I know how you feel.
It was awful. No, it really was. And at the time, Ferdy Alberg, who was a
Amazing.
huge legend, was supposed to do it. But I think he saw me and went off. I'll give it to my son. He can be challenged with this one, not knowing what he created at the time. So Michael met me. He said, I've never taught anybody as famous as you. And I thought, well, I've never done dressage before, so kind of need your help. And he comes out with all this spiel. I've got no idea what he's talking about. I have these 3 lessons, do the competition, which was kind of okay. And I'd got back from there and I felt that something was missing. I'd had when you've won so many things, and I do not mean to be unappreciative because I loved everything I did with the showing, but I felt done.
Yeah. You achieved so much in the showing world.
Yeah.
So that was...
And I just, it's like, in life
You
just
wanted a new
inspiration.
challenge.
Yeah, I did. But I didn't realise that's what it was going to be. So when it came about...
Maybe I should try to be a dressage.
No, you're too good.
Too old.
Yeah, no one's ever
Well,
too
you're a
old.
successful podcast host now as well, so...
But yeah, so that's how it started. And but I did feel after 6 weeks something was missing, and that's how it really picked up. And I didn't actually compete for another year. This was like 14 years ago. So I've only actually been doing dressage for 13 years. So it's been...
But look,
most people do it for a lifetime.
yeah, but cool.
It's quite cool to have 2 very successful careers in one lifetime.
And you've made it onto several Nations Cup teams now, haven't you?
There is nothing better than being on a team.
Wearing a flag.
Wearing a flag.
Representing your country.
Absolutely. It is
Proud.
the dream. And yeah.
Would you say that's a career highlight in kind of with so much that you've achieved?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me a career highlight is Aachen.
Aachen, for any listeners, is one of the top shows in the world in Germany. It is the most unbelievable show.
You
and
would
the
love it. It's got
atmosphere.
everything there.
Yeah.
And the
everything.
people there is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable atmosphere.
Wow. Okay. So
So a privilege. So I think it was 2019 and it wasn't planned that I was going to be on the team. I was called up probably not that long before and saying, you're going to go for experience. We need you on the team. I'd been on a team at Hickstead the year before and done very, very well. In fact, I won it for the team. So it was really good. I put myself on the map in a good way, got my flag that day. But then when I was asked to go to Aachen, it was big time. Like, oh
Major
my
leagues.
God.
Did you suffer from the nerves there?
No, I got very excited. In fact, at the time, Lotte, I was on the team with Lottie Fry and Charlotte, and they thought there was something wrong with me because I was just like, oh my God, I'm in Aachen. I've dreamed of this. It's happening, I am so ready. And then my horse has a bit of a funny habit that would make most people laugh. He has to do a wee, but he won't do it if you're not on him.
interesting.
If I got off, he wouldn't do it. So he has to do a wee before he starts. Now, anybody that knows Aachen, it's full of stewards checking that everybody is not cruel to their horse or got it over round or anything. And they thought there was something wrong with him. That was the only time I got nervous because the stewards were all, conflabbing and pointing at me. And
Because he was weeing when you were only when you
yeah,
sat
he
on
was
him.
standing in the middle of the arena and everybody knows him, knows he does this, but it is a little bit embarrassing.
And do you have because I always used to have a certain whistle that made I still do.
So if-
We try
Hang on.
that.
that might work on me actually.
Well, do you need a wee?
I always used to whistle to them.
Oh dear, no,
Still
Dynamo,
do.
you couldn't rush him. So you had to let him do this wee, and it's everybody's laughing at you, and then you kind of go with the laugh, and yeah, it's really funny, and then you're thinking, I'm dying because I've now only got 30 minutes to warm up. You need 45. That's the only time I ever used to get nervous with him, is if that wee took more than 20 minutes because I'd give an extra 15 minutes for him to mess about trying to wee.
Horses must sense nerves because I'm actually the same.
Yeah, but that
To
is
the point that I'm already and I'm on a horse that's ready to go
Yeah.
cross country, and I suddenly go,
I need to wait. I've done the same.
wait. And it's actually almost become a mental thing in my head, because I have actually had the odd fall
Yeah.
where I've been pushed in an ambulance and I have needed, and I've gone to hospital, and you know how long it is in A&E, and
Yeah.
they want to do a check if they're treating it as a neck injury. They won't
Yeah.
let you wee, and
Yeah.
I've been in
Oh
They
my
won't
God,
let
it must
you
be
wee?
agony.
no agony, or they might say bedpan. I went anyway.
Well, that's why I let him do a wee, because I'm
Yeah,
thinking I'm not
I
going to
was-
get top side of him
I
if he
know how
hasn't
that
done his
feels.
wee.
Anyone listening, if
Yeah.
you need to go, just
gotta
make
go.
sure you go.
Just go.
Don't hold back.
And if
Otherwise
you
you
can't,
can't ride.
sometimes sitting on the back, someone on the back of you helps.
Yeah.
What?
That's for those of you who struggle to wee at home, have someone sit on the back of you.
Jumping up and down.
Stranger things have happened.
So now I know you mentioned we're going away, a little bit away from the dressage, but you had a terrible accident in
2001.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I was not driving that day. I wasn't driving the truck. Robert was. It's all his fault. Yeah, we did. I mean, I joke about it. It wasn't a joke. We're both very, very lucky to be alive. And I think it was like 23 years ago now. But
I remember it so well.
Oh, yeah.
With all those.
Don't.
Oh my God, that
Yeah.
was horrendous.
I mean, the worst thing imaginable.
Yeah.
Like you've got a hill that is like that with a hairpin bend at the bottom and the brakes fail at the top, and you've got a lorry load of horses. And there's him driving, myself and my neighbour that's in the middle. I mean, I can remember everything right now, and it's just,
The
you know, when you
brakes
see your
went.
life flash in front of you,
Yeah.
and I can remember every second of it. Yeah, I still cannot believe we're alive.
So
And-
so you're coming down the hill now at speed.
Yeah,
and-
literally on a Saturday morning. It was vile weather, but you don't think anything of it, and you literally it's a mile away from where we live. But we do live on probably the biggest hill in Warwickshire. And I thought there was something wrong with it because he didn't say anything, and we were just speeding up. And I was like, Robert, what? You know, we don't need to go that fast. And he goes, and then he didn't actually say anything, and then he starts standing up and holding onto the steering wheel and then putting his foot on the brakes, and I'm going, oh. Yeah, the language probably wasn't
Oh, it must be
ready
Yeah.
for talk horse, but you know,
Sure you can imagine,
it was
yeah.
sheer panic, and all I kept doing was this to hold Callie in, my next door neighbour, and Robert, bless him, if he hadn't have done what he did, I mean, I don't know how
many
he did
horses
it.
did you have on?
There was 5 horses on the back of the lorry, and we were going, and then the hill starts going down.
Yeah.
And we know how steep this particular hill is. It's actually steeper than the one we actually live on. And somehow he managed to steer it onto the verge, which then slowed it a little bit. Just before we hit the hairpin bend, thank God it flipped. But the only thing I will say, if we hadn't have hit this tree, I wouldn't be here talking to you. It was a tree that stopped the lorry flipping over with a 70-foot drop behind it.
Jesus.
So, and the horses all flew out the roof. They were not injured. Because, you know, that you get the herringbone partitions, but
And
the
a soft
roof
roof.
was like fiberglass. And I don't know how, I cannot explain it. Not one horse was injured, and that's all you could think about.
Wow. I mean,
Robert, me and Callie, slightly different, but they were okay, and obviously that's all that matters. And then all I heard was my groom in the other lorry behind us. It was them screaming, not us. We were kind of like, we were just in shock, I think, for a minute, the screams, because Callie was actually okay. Robert was squashed by the steering wheel, and I was half out, half in, and in pieces. But because the shock adrenaline kind of takes over. And I was completely squashed by the dashboard, and my clients brilliantly kind of pulled it away for me to get out. I mean, I don't remember any pain because I couldn't feel a thing. I mean, I just knew there was something very wrong with my legs. I was sort of holding it, and it was kind of like,
oh no.
swinging everywhere. But I was more worried about Callie and Robert because they were stuck in the lorry. They couldn't get out, and the engine was still going, but I knew the horses were all right. And then it's like sheer panic. Then I could hear Robert screaming, am I all right? And I'm like, oh my God, are you all right? You know, we're only worried about you. And then the next thing is the air ambulance comes out. There's people everywhere. I mean, it's just the paramedics turn up, and it is like something from a movie, you know, not in a good way, you know. It was just horrible. I mean, yeah, I needed a lot of therapy after that. But, you know, when things like that happen, we've all had falls, we've all hurt ourselves. But when you have a life-threatening injury, you end up and then you're told you're never going to ride again. You'll be lucky if you walk again. We might have to take your leg off from the knee.
Is that how serious it was?
Yeah, I mean, it was smashed to pieces. And I thought, it can't be that bad. Can't be that bad, because, you know, I was on the old gas and air. I didn't know what was going on. And then when you're in hospital and then they say you need this operation, but we can't do it yet. We don't know what we're going to do with you. And it was Nick Skelton, actually, because he had broken his neck a few years before and he had this exterior fixator on. And they, at the time, the doctor said, your best way is to have an exterior fixator on, but you're a woman and we're not sure you're going to cope with it. They weren't trying to be, you know, sexist or anything at the time.
Yeah.
They just said it's a really hardcore thing and we just don't think it's good and we might recommend you in traction. I'm thinking, there's no way
Give me the
I am
exterior
staying in
fixator.
this hospital. I said, get me wired up. My friend, he had it on his head. I'll be fine.
Alas.
Oh, I remember you walking
Oh,
around with
God.
I remember
yeah,
it.
but that was all right after about 6 weeks. The first 6 weeks, my body was having none of it. My body was rejecting all. It just looked like, what's that game you used to play when you were a kid? Is it Kaplunk? Where all the wires go,
God,
little
yeah.
pins go through. My leg looked like one of those, you know. And I mean, I don't know how much detail you want. It's quite horrific, but you had to. It was horrible.
Shall we move on?
So how long was the recovery and how long, and
I had
emotionally,
that
how
on
did you
for-
then get
well-
back into riding?
Me being me,
Back on the horse?
and most riders, I did actually get on my Rocky with the cage on, only walking. Yeah, it probably wasn't
What is it
ideal,
with
but
you
not
horsey
very soon. I
people?
mean, it was like 8 months later. I had to go. It was like 8
Oh,
months
my
later.
legs hanging off. Let's get back on the horse.
because that's what you do. isn't
Well,
it?
it
Well, you
is
do.
the expression for a reason. It's back
do
on the bike,
tend
back
to
on the
get
horse.
Yeah.
We're going
back
to change
on a
it.
bit.
I was like, I'm going to prove those doctors wrong. They don't know what they're talking about.
Clearly, you were right.
Yeah, but I mean, it's horrific, you know, to go through those sort of, learning how to walk again was actually the hardest thing. I wasn't worried about riding, it was walking. And, you know, you get left with the scars and the mental scars and everything else. But you know what? I'm here, and any opportunity that comes my way, I take with both hands, because I might not have been here. But I wish people would actually take opportunities, even without some awful
Yeah.
accident. And I see people that are given opportunities and they're asked to do things here, there and everywhere, and they go, oh, no, I don't think I want to. I think, you have no idea. Just take it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Go
do.
with it.
You really,
It's
yeah.
too easy to say no. But
Yeah.
what if you said yes?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great attitude to have.
Yeah, and then, but it goes into the dressage. You know, there's when I first started going internationally, I went to my first show abroad. You know, get me HGV finally. Off we go with the truck, and I drive myself to Spain. Well, I've never driven on the other side of the road, but I'm going to do it in a horse box. And we were there for 2 weeks. I had the best time. I was told it wasn't going to go well because, you know, it's your first time and the judges don't know you and they need to get to know you before they start rewarding you with marks. And my Dynamo Bell and I think we were fourth both times, which is quite a big deal back then. And then 2 weeks later, I got a call asking me if I'd go to a show in Mallorca.
Well, that's different. Nice.
Great, I'm halfway there. Let's go.
You didn't try and
No,
drive
but
there,
I'd already gone home at this point.
Yeah, no.
But I did it. And I went, me and my friend Joe, at the time, my groom, we had the trip of a lifetime. And it was the hardest, yes, I said, but the best, yes, I said.
Yeah.
And I am so glad, because I think that actually set me up for the stage for what was coming. And I mean, Dynamo, he was ever so naughty back in the day. I mean, he was so hot and sharp and spooky. And the amount of classes he probably gave away. And I hadn't had the experience of quite how to deal with his hotness. And if I'd had my time again, I mean, it would be amazing. But he was really tricky, still is really tricky at the
How
age
old
of
is he now?
He's 19.
19.
He doesn't know he's 19.
Are you you're still competing?
Yeah, I mean, I won't go internationally with him, but he can do home internationals. We'll have another go this year, and he'll tell me when he's ready to retire. He's not ready yet.
not ready.
If you met him, you'd understand.
understand,
He
yeah.
is a character.
I would like to meet him.
Yeah, you would love
And
that.
they're a
He's
long,
the
you know,
best.
some of them could be a long time in
Yeah,
retirement. And,
but you know what?
and
It's
they love their
exactly, if they're
work.
happy and healthy. I was always, a friend of mine, Spencer Wilton, always said, when they're sound and ready, go to your show, because there's always times where you can't.
So, Louise, what does this year hold for you? What are your big goals for the year?
I've got some fantastic things going on. I have a wonderful horse called Peaky Blinder,
Oh, great name.
aka the Dougie. So he is homebred, and
Produced
he's
by you,
actually
exactly,
So
yeah.
he's out of a working hunter mare that I bred, who's related to Rocky.
Oh,
The great Rocky was my original horse.
OG.
Yeah. Anyway, so Dougie is the future.
How old is he?
He's rising 7.
All right, exciting age.
Yeah, he's been quite slow to start because he's a big boy. So he's very excited on the horse front. I work a lot with Jade Holland Cooper and her daughter and her son, and it's just so gorgeous. And one quick note, got to say one thing, got something really funny, Tristan, for you. So one day Jade turns up and she brings her friend.
Okay.
And I walk into the barn and I go, all right, Gareth, how are
Gareth's
you
not-
doing? Yes, but he doesn't know that I know him. He doesn't know me, but I know him. And I'm so embarrassed because I'm like jabbering away and I'm thinking, he doesn't actually know me at all.
Because he's on.
Excuse my ignorance. Is Gareth a friend of
So
yours?
Gareth is a friend of
Yes.
mine who was
On
also on
Made-
Made in Chelsea.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Who's friend with the Holland Coopers.
That's right. So we are connected.
We are. And apparently some great parties happen at that house. That's what I've heard.
Oh, I can
It's very
see.
true.
I'm
So
going to be
if you can
NFI.
wangle an invite for the next one, Pippa and I are in.
Oh, dear.
Thank you so much, Louise.
Oh,
What an
thank
absolute
you.
pleasure.
I've loved it.
Louise, it's been great. Great catching
It
up.
has.
Great hearing where it all started, and I knew you'd be fun.
I've loved it. Thanks so much for having
Thanks.
me.
We love it too.
Thank you. Yeah, we do. Really enjoy
We have a
it.
lot of fun here.
So, Tristan, do you feel as though you've learnt any more from Louise, our chat with Louise?
I've learned so much. What I found some knowledge, but also what a lovely woman. Really, really fun. I definitely would like Louise back.
She's a real character.
Yeah. And
Always,
achieved so much.
always up for a laugh. Always up for a laugh.
Absolutely.
And I think that is actually one of the key things. You need to have humour in the horse world. You
Yeah.
really do need to have humour.
One of the things I'm learning about you, Equestrian lot, which I put myself in that category, is that
We're silly.
well, you're humble, but you also that you learn so many, grounding lessons from your horses that you have to have a sense of humour.
And to hear that horrendous accident about that she overcame
Then to
and,
bounce back and then change careers and achieve so much in that career, very inspiring.
and just shows change shouldn't be frightening.
No, absolutely not.
Well, doors close, another one opens.
Do you reckon it's too late for me to join Pony Club? 'Cause it sounds really fun.
Well, I tell you what, if you I'm not sure you would survive if you
would
were at
get eaten
Pony
alive,
Club.
wouldn't
You would get eaten alive at Pony Club camp.
Ah,
2 young lads.
sounds
that-
awful.
You'd love it.
No, what a great guest. We should definitely have her back. Enjoyed that one a lot.
Great fun.
Absolutely.
If you've loved us talking horses, make sure you join our community by subscribing so you never miss an episode.
Absolutely. And please do leave us a review because it really does help.
Tell all your friends as well. And you can email us at info@talk-horse.com.
Absolutely. Please join in the conversation because we've got so much more horse talk to share with you.
Bye
Goodbye.
for now.